Hey, konnichiwa minasan, it's Gray from Wakizashi's Teahouse over in Japan. How are you doing? You good? Are you Genki? Are you ready for a Japanese mythology on the X-Men? Here we go. I've got a review of Ultimate X-Men issue 1. Came out today, Wednesday, March 6, 2024, priced at $5.99. For that you get 40 pages and it's written, drawn and coloured by Peach Momoko. Now, first of all, let me tell you, you can probably guess, it's a very, very different take on the X-Men. It doesn't feel like an X-Men book. It feels more like something like this. If you know Junji Ito and his strange kind of weird Japanese horror and ghost stories. It's got a very dark mythological feel to it at times, but also a kind of school story. You're dealing with a teenager who's just graduated from junior high school in Japan. There are nods to the Japanese religion, maybe Shinto or Buddhism, with the temples and temple charms in here. But yeah, I've been reading an interview with Peach Momoko. It's from a few months back, but it was in Screen Rant, if you're interested. It's worth having a read. And basically, here's what she said when she got the job, and it was a surprise for her. She says, Jonathan Hickman and C.B. Cebulski, they kind of let me do whatever I wanted. They just gave me a what if X-Men, but in Japan. And she said that she wanted to use the character of Hisako, who's armor, because she's a Japanese character and she's not really been developed that much. If you've read Peach Momoko's Demon Days, you'll have an idea of what this is like, but it's not with animal, anthropomorphic characters and creatures. It is based in the Ultimate Universe, but it's based in the kind of real world, only set in Japan. She went on to say that when she found Hisako, the character, had the power of armor, and what she thought that meant is that it's like protecting her almost like a shell, like she's in a bubble. She said she was also interested in developing the concept of like adolescence and the changes, not just physical, but mental changes that children go through in that period of their lives, and how to live life, got through school, getting along with adults and teachers, trusting people, putting up with bullying, that kind of thing. And she says, just take a look at the main cover. When you see Hisako there, she is kind of balled up. She's curled up with the armor kind of protecting her. So, as I say, a very different flavour, but I'm sure you gathered that already. Give it a chance. See what you think. Have a look. What I'll do is I'm going to give a bit of a story summary, and I do put a spoiler warning partway through this. So if you don't want me to reveal one of the most exciting scenes in the book, you can skip ahead after the spoiler warning to the end of the story summary, where I'll give my score and show you some of the variant covers. And guess what, folks? Yes, there are a few. So let's get on with the introduction to the book and show you some of the art from inside, give you a bit of a story. Please keep watching. Here we go. We start off with the main cover by Peach Momoko, and just look at the cover. This gives you an idea of what this comic book's all about. This is what you're going to find inside. A diabolical genius known as the Maker used time travel to create his ideal Earth by systematically preventing anyone from ever becoming a superhero, and establishing a secret council of supervillains that rules this world from the shadows. Now that sounds very Mark Millar, doesn't it? Come on. But recently the Maker was locked away in a place called the City, and now the Maker's council works to further exercise their influence on the world, including Sunfire, Viper, and Silver Samurai, who oversee the eastern territory of Hi no Kuni, the land of the sun. There, a young girl named Hisako Ichiki is about to find her life changed forever. We open with what looks like a very traditional Japanese middle school, so junior high school, graduation ceremony. These take place in March in Japan, and you can see the cherry blossom there in the background. The school I work at is having theirs on Friday this week, but it's really cold and windy over here and there aren't any cherry blossoms fully blooming yet. Here we get background that Hisako hasn't been going to school because she makes a point of saying she thought she should at least show up for the graduation. One of her classmates gives her a button. It's the second button from a boy's school uniform, his blazer. The second button is closest to the heart, so it means the boy likes you. But when she points out the boy, he's gone. Hisako turns over the button and finds a tiny little paper note tied into it. There is a message saying, "Meet at the temple in the mountain behind the school." And the message signs off, "My friend." She seems surprised by that. Then she gets a call from her mum. Sounds like her mum's busy with work. She tells her to go ahead and eat with Granny. But Hisako is making her way to the temple. She's waiting at the temple, but there appears to be nobody there. And she's writing it off as a silly prank when she sees a boy in the distance. She thinks she's seeing things when she looks again and there's a strange dark shadow instead. The shadow speaks in a really strange voice. I'm guessing that because the typeface they use for the speech bubble, can you see there? The white type with a black bubble background. It's very hard to read, but this strange figure, this strange being knows her name and knew she would come. It turns out this figure left the button. It reaches over and gives her a present. It appears to be a lucky charm from one of the shrines or temples in Japan. But she has a strange reaction to it. She starts to stutter. Where did you get this? It turns out it was a present from one of her friends when she was younger, a boy called Tsubasa. And here's where the story starts to turn dark. We find out Tsubasa is dead. There are references to bullying, and we get the feeling that Hisako is feeling guilt. Maybe she could have helped. Now here's where the Junji Ito vibes really kick in. Look at this. It starts to get really dark here and we're getting proper Japanese horror, like psychological horror, creepy horror. Look at that eye there. Looks like my eye after too many drinks the night before. This strange dark figure is speaking of vengeance. Okay, I'll skip ahead a few pages too. Here we've got Hisako. She's fleeing from the shrine, the temple, on a bicycle, saying, I'm sorry, but she's got the charm with her. She's remembering her old friend, Tsubasa, and she's insisting it wasn't her fault. She imagines or she hears a voice asking why is she running away? She was the one told him not to run. And as she cycles hurriedly down one of these Japanese narrow roads, she doesn't see an approaching car until it's too late. Okay, if you don't want to know what happens next, you want to remain completely spoiler free for one of the main events in this book, please skip ahead to the next time marker, which will be after this story summary. Are you still here? Okay, you have been warned. But you can probably guess what's going to happen next, right? Here we go. We see Hisako's shocked face at the headlamps of an approaching car, too close to do anything. It's going to hit her, surely. Instead, some strange red giant fist smacks down on the front of the car and smashes it. Hisako can't believe she's unhurt. Instead, she's being protected by what looks like, I don't know how to describe it, halfway between the ghost of a pink giant samurai with the oni, devil's teeth, but obviously cares for her and has saved her life. And we get this great panel here of her like on the floor in front of a smashed up car. Her bike looks broken as well, but she's alive, she's safe. She hasn't even been touched. This was when my life changed. I would never be normal again. Everything I tried to avoid came crashing down on me all at once. I was so scared. The next day we're back at Hisako's house and we see the story on the news about the car. It's mysterious, they don't know how it was smashed. The driver is in critical condition. He insisted that he'd avoided hitting a young girl, but no evidence was found of her. Hisako is blaming herself. Okay, there are still over 10 pages to go, but let me skip right to the end. We get a preview of the cover for issue 2, which is on sale in April. Ultimate X-Men issue 2. We also see advertisements for Ultimate Black Panther issue 2 coming out later in March. And of course, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 3, which will be on sale in March too. And there you have it. I do hope you enjoyed that. For a score for this book, as I say, I'm not looking at it as an X-Men book, but as an opening issue with good character work and some pretty cool art at times, if you like her style. Nice dive into Japanese myth and a little bit of horror. I'm going to give this 8 out of 10. A pretty strong 8 out of 10. So, okay, here are some of the variant covers. The first one here is by Betsy Cola. What a great name, by the way, Betsy Cola. Then we have a Deke or Daik Ruan variant. I'm getting weird anime 1990 or 1980 flashbacks with this. And here we have the In-hyuk Lee armor variant. Very, very pink in this one. Now I'll skip the Mark Brooks one to show you this really, really cool Peach Momoko variant. I've got to say, I do like this one, but again, just look at this. This would not give you any clue that it's an X-Men book, would it? Much more Junji Ito.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally?
And out of the incentive covers, there's one here by an artist called Aka, aka Aka. So that's one that kind of stood out for me. Yeah, what do you think? Are you going to go for this book? Are you tempted to pick it up? Give it a try? If you do, which cover would you go for? There's some pretty cool ones there, some nice choices. For me, I don't know. I think if I could get that awesome Peach Momoko variant one, you know, the one with the close-up of that weird creature, yeah, I'd go for that. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Do drop a comment. Let me know if you have picked it up, if you've read it, or if you're going to. What do you think of the style, the storytelling? I'd love to hear from you. And I hope to see you in a future video. Thank you, and mata ne.